So butter. Turn on the skillet down to medium. Depending on your heat, don't let it get too hot. You really don't want super high heat, so like medium-ish. Pretty much just putting the butter in there. It's 1 teaspoon of butter for every egg, and you let that melt in the skillet. In the blender or with an immersion blender or whatever, you're just gonna pour your eggs in and then put the lid on here. And you add 1/4 teaspoon of salt for every egg. And then, ooh, that is not. So just blending it together. This probably worked better in my other one. I'm gonna get my other little attachment for this because there's less eggs in here. But when there's more than 3 eggs, it's a little bit higher than the blades, and it will, it blends together much better in this thing. But what you're doing is you're creating bubbles. You're basically whisking air into these eggs instead of adding milk to emulsify them. That's what the air will do the job. So as you see, the butter is melting. What we'll do, just pour the butter directly into the eggs. Skillet back on the heat. Blend them up for a moment here. You're trying to get it all put together. All you're doing, there's a layer of foam on top. You just pour it into the skillet. Some of the butter cooled down and turned into little bits of butter inside the eggs, but most of it is emulsified into the actual eggs themselves. And so you're basically just going to heat, the eggs for a moment here, and the bottom of them will start to cook. And when that happens, you're just going to start going around the center or around the edge, and with a whisk or whatever, or not a whisk, a spatula or something rubber, and pulling all of the cooked bits into the middle like this. And it creates this area, surface area around the edge for more egg to cook. And you're going to continue doing this until the eggs are done. This only takes a couple of minutes. And if you tilt this a little bit this way, you see how it's cooking on the bottom? That's what I mean. Pull all that. You can go around the edge like this. You're just getting it away from the edges. And pulling it into the center here, where that's going to stay nice and warm and create that surface area for all the additional liquid eggs to go and cook. And it happens really quick once it starts really getting cooked. So you have to keep an eye on it and be constantly moving. And eventually there won't be enough liquid, it'll all be just scrambled eggs. At this point, you know there's a little liquid, you just move it around so it touches the surface. It starts looking creamy like this. It's not quite there, it's almost done. But the eggs are much creamier, they taste a lot better because you've emulsified the butter into them. And now at this point, they look a little bit creamy, but they've had their surface contact time and they are fully done. So, whoops. I like to do 2 to 3 eggs per person. So when it's 5 of us, I'll make a dozen eggs or so, almost a dozen. Might as well use up the extras. And that's just what it looks like.